So hello, everybody, and welcome to the Geek group. And tonight we're going to have Terrina talk to us. And so tonight we're going to have Terrina Wilder, who is an accomplished regulatory compliance professional in the healthcare field with expertise that spans 21 years. Terrina is a former chemical officer for the U.S. Army. Terrina has passionately served veterans in her local community. Ms. Wilder has been an author of literary writings in both Christian fiction and nonfiction genres. She resides in North Texas, where she began actively investing in real estate in 2017. Currently, Terrina owns 197 units in multifamily real estate. Okay, thank you so much for that, Terrina. And with that, are you ready to take it away?
I am. And let's see, I want to present a few slides here as well. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen yet? Okay, great. Well, good evening, everybody. I am so glad that Max and I had talked about me presenting on this topic. In fact, I'll share a little tidbit with you. It was during a time where me being on an asset management team was not a reality. And we were talking through topics that will be beneficial to the group. And this was one that piqued my interest, mainly because of my corporate role of being more of a project manager and utilizing those skills and seeing how best I can transfer those over to the real estate industry. So I was very grateful to be able to be on the agenda to talk about this topic. But again, I want to emphasize it's more of a journey because it's still a learning process for me. So yeah, so tonight we'll be talking about functioning as an asset management team with team members and my personal journey in that process. So there are 4 key things that I wanted to talk about tonight, things that I've learned, and those things are: don't quit your day job, know yourself and your passions, network and develop an understanding of the talents of other people that you encounter, and then chart your own course. Despite all the education you receive, it's important to tailor that to what works best for you. And I'll talk a little bit further about that. So not quitting your day job and the importance of that. I mean, this may be very fundamental and you all probably know this, but you'd be surprised with how material is presented in this industry. It can be a little deceptive. And I'm just being frank with you. It can be a little deceptive with the presentation. Sometimes presenters of certain investment clubs would say that in 90 days, you can get your first GP deal. And that hasn't been the case for me. So not looking through things with rose-colored glasses is so important, and being realistic with your own situation and using wisdom to apply to your very situation is going to be important. And then also when it comes to the cash flow that is necessary for your real estate business and even your personal life, it has to come from somewhere. So as my mom used to say, money doesn't grow on trees. So we have to be realistic with ourselves and make sure that we still have that cash flow coming through as we're trying to scale and trying to build our real estate business. So everyone who's a part of this group, I mean, you are a business owner. If you have a real estate business and you're pursuing this space, you are a business owner. And it's important to know that you can't always quit your day job based off of projections. You have to have a strategic plan. And when to exit corporate America or exit the W-2 route has to be planned out. I hope to be able to do that fairly in the near future. I wouldn't say fairly soon, but in the near future, I plan to do that. So that was one particular lesson that I certainly did learn. And then knowing yourself and your passions. I'm an introvert person. Some of you may be very extroverted and love to, or you have the gift of gab, is what my friend would call it. I don't necessarily have that, but I have to work at forcing myself out of my comfort zone. And then some of you may have a combination of that. I consider myself, depending on the situation, I can be an extroverted person, but I would have to be comfortable. And sometimes it's after I have gotten myself used to or familiar enough with the conversation that I would feel comfortable enough to be chatty, if you will. But draw yourself out of your comfort zone. And that's something that I had to learn to do. In this real estate space, it's very uncomfortable for me to walk up to someone and insert myself into a conversation. But I recently attended the UP event, and I think, what's his name? Marcel mentioned that he attended as well. And it required that. It required you just simply, or me simply just inserting myself into conversations. But that crowd of people, they were used to networking in that way. You know, they were used to people interjecting. So it was a good playing field for me to learn how to come out of my comfort zone and even talk about potential investment opportunities. Again, I'm somewhat of an introvert, and it's kind of hard for me to tell people, hey, you need to invest your money in multifamily deals, and let me tell you about this. But it started to come very natural for me as I began to converse with people. But being true to myself is very important. Understanding that it's not necessarily an everyday thing, but people want to know that you're being real with them and not phony. I mean, I'm sure many of you can tell when somebody's being disingenuous, flooding you with compliments and telling you this and that. You can see right through that. And I feel that when it comes to talking to people within real estate, the same skill set is certainly valuable. Being genuine and authentic, people really do appreciate that. Knowing your passion, and you can discover your passion in the things that you care most about. So in this journey for me, I had to discover my why or my passion. And we all know that part of it is trying to build wealth. So that's a given. That's actually a given. And I think going beyond that to discover why I wanted to be in this space, I had to really do some soul searching, if you will. And the things that came up to me just in sitting quietly and understanding what's important, I love being a part of my local community. And as Max said, that I'm a veteran. And one of the things that made me so passionate about veterans is how my father and stepfather were treated as Vietnam vets when they came back from serving. They were spit on, the rocks were thrown at them, and they served their country, put their lives on the line, and to know how they were being received by the American people that they were basically fighting for. When I was a kid, that really bothered me. So when I joined the military and when I got out, the reception was totally different. There are people who I don't even know would come up to me and say, thank you for your service. And I appreciate that change in the mindset of the American people. I absolutely appreciate that. But still, those Vietnam veterans are still alive, and they're still trying to migrate and find their way in this world. And my passion is to give back to them, to help them navigate what their benefits are and how they can just adjust to this world, and especially during these pandemic times. So that's a passion of mine. The other one is joining with faith groups that are doing ministry stateside and abroad. So there are different schools that are being set up in Africa, and those are things that I'm very much passionate about. There are ministries in Europe and right here in the States, in the islands. Those are things that I'm passionate about. Also, being a healing minister is something that I'm also passionate about, and living a holistic life. So in order to do those things, and allocate more time to do those, I need to free up the need to hit the beating path, if you will, in corporate America to be able to do the things that I want to do. So having the income to afford that kind of a lifestyle is some of the reasons why I'm passionate about certain things in life. And then I feel that real estate, multifamily real estate, will be that vehicle. So network. Again, as I mentioned, I'm somewhat of an introverted person, but having to just put myself in uncomfortable situations, I've discovered that I would ultimately get comfortable. I love connecting people. I love building a relationship with people, and seeing how I can connect them with resources or things that will be of interest, or things that could actually help them, whether it be social media groups or things like that. I tell you, it has proven to be very, very beneficial for me on this journey to making my way or navigating my way to a GP team. And in fact, Albrey, you mentioned Ed Mazel. He gave me a bit of good advice, and that was, Terrina, don't be so caught up in the legalities, because I'm always wanting to get things contractually signed and make sure all agreements, we all understand how we are to do things. He said to me, first of all, people need to know who you are. And if you're trying to get them to sign documents, you're probably scaring them away. So I took his advice and I started to look for ways to be a part of teams, teams where we would come together and actually do some underwriting, practice our pitch to brokers, finding ways to network with general contractors, insurance brokers, mortgage brokers. So ultimately, what advice I got from him really set me on a right path. Now, many of you probably have gone through coaching. I did too. Yeah, I did too. And I find that these other avenues have been more beneficial for me. One being Clubhouse. I found that I have networked with people on Clubhouse to a point where, and I'm just going to be honest with you all, I wanted to look to see if my investment in my real estate education, multifamily real estate education, was ground or foundational. And yes, it was. And there are other investment clubs out there. Rod Cleef has one, and I did a boot camp with him. And of course, I've done a couple of trainings with RE Mentor as well. But there was a bit of wise advice that one of our members gave me, and that was try the free stuff. There's so much out there that you can do for free that can be very beneficial, and you'll meet some, phenomenal people that can really set the course for you teaming up. So that's something that really worked well for me. Clubhouse helped me to generate a relationship with an organization. Now, granted is kind of related to the military. It's called ADPI, Active Duty Passive Investors, and many of the people are affiliated with the military, but they get me. I love it. We do underwriting, and it's that mindset. And I'm like, yes, I found my tribe. So this is great. We meet weekly, and we practice underwriting, or someone is pitching an underwriting deal. And then sometimes there's actually conversations and networking that occurs afterwards, where whomever has pitched a deal can also raise capital on it too. So that has really helped me. And then I'm also a part of a couple of other groups that stemmed from, some of you may know her, Francis Floor. She set up a couple of Slack groups where we practice our underwriting, and we were honest with one another as far as we critiqued each other's underwriting of a given deal. We gave real-time feedback. And if we had to go back and do some editing and revisions, that helped at least hone my skills. And it also helped me discover relationships with people. That's how I met Michael Washington, and some other people as well. And then actually attending certain investment meetings like the Ultimate Partnership, the sponsorship event hosted both by RE Mentor. Those opened up some opportunities for me. I hadn't met Max outside of the sponsorship event. And then when I reached out to him by email, I was pleasantly surprised that he would follow up with me and then want to see how he can best help me. And I thought, wow, this is awesome how these connections happen. And based off of my efforts with Max and Multifamily Geeks, I started doing some underwriting and seeing ways in which I can hone my skills there too. And just simply partner with some people who have come through these mastermind groups that Max has put together. So I'm grateful for what relationships have formed through these multifamily, or I would say these networking events. The Facebook community, being able to let my presence be known, has helped me connect with people as well, whether they are within RE Mentor or some other facet of real estate that I've encountered them. All of that is important, and you just never know when you might connect with somebody and forge a relationship that ends up being very fruitful. So I think that's important. And in fact, I think sometimes when it comes to the multifamily space, I'm still learning certain things, but if I have information that I could share with someone else to help them move to the next level, they will remember me. That person will remember me, and likewise, you know, someone helping me. And I know these are things that you all already know, but I tell you, it's not so much that I have the golden key. It's a matter of just putting yourself out there to let that opportunity present itself to you. But there is some work that you have to do, and basically allowing yourself to be put in a particular situation is what's key as well. So that's one of the good things about networking, even if you are an introvert like me. So charting your own course. So one thing I haven't shared with you just yet is that I entered the multifamily space in 2019. So August 2019. So a little over 2 years before my very first LP deal and GP deal, all in the month of October. I mean, literally at the start of this month. Those two things happen. So you just never know. Some people can certainly get their first deal or get in on their first deal a lot sooner than me, or it may be a similar course as me. But the bottom line is, don't give up. if you know that you can believe in yourself, it can happen for you as well. And I think when you have people like those who are part of this group, and these, there are so many of you who are encouraging individuals. I appreciate you all for being that for me. And I think that it has had an impact on what has recently transpired in the month of October for me. So thank you for those of you who have supported me along the way and have worked with me along the way too. So I think that's really important. Let's see, training in all areas. So you may find that when it comes to calling brokers, you may not like it, but you have to do it anyway. Do things that you're not comfortable with. Even underwriting. I have had analysis paralysis, and I've had to challenge myself. Okay, Terrina, don't take 2 hours to underwrite, take 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And I constantly keep trying to train myself to get better and quicker at it. But I'm naturally an analytical person. So that's part of why it takes me so long. Then networking, going to various events and meeting people and letting them know what you do and what you're working on is so important. And then as you do all of those aspects of the multifamily piece, you'll kind of discover what you like most. You'll discover your own hidden talents and how those can benefit a given GP team. And for me, it's about connecting people. It's about motivating people. And it's about making myself available. One of the things about my current team is 3 of us, 3 ladies, and I live in the North Texas area, Dallas, Fort Worth area. And Texas is our primary market as a team. And I end up being boots on the ground. But one of the things that I bring to the team is being able to see how my project management skills in corporate America have really helped us to stay on course, to pursue certain things and to or pursue certain properties, I should say, and then also to see how sponsors would actually like to work with us. Kim is one member of our team, Kim Truong. She loves a particular underwriting tool. It's the Michael Blanc SDA tool, a syndication deal analysis. I think that's what it stands for. She loves that tool. I don't particularly care for it, but she loves it. And she definitely has made it a point to get passionate about it. So she brings that to our team. And then Sansu Cho, she's actually an RN, a registered nurse of 30 years. And she loves talking with brokers. And she has a certain pace that she likes to go at. Come on, let's go, let's go. And she's really high energy. So I thrive off of that. And when she brings the deals in, you know, Kim and I are bouncing that off to do some underwriting. I may go ahead and check the property out as boots on the ground, and we make a decision. Hey, are we going to do an LOI on this? Or are we going to first ask a few more questions of the broker? Terrina, what did you find when you went on site? And there was one property I walked with my little dog, me as this older lady coming up with my dog. I felt kind of safe doing it. I'm grateful I had him with me. But I saw a drug deal go down. I was like, I don't know about this area. I just felt kind of unsafe. And I believe this young man just went up to, so anyway, it was very eye-opening. And someone who's boots on the ground can tell you that kind of information that you may not otherwise receive. So certainly it has been very beneficial how we bounce off of each other and build off of each other's talents and what have you. But as far as the momentum is concerned, we have this current deal. I can't talk in great detail about it, but I will say this: we're going to start up a campaign for capital raising. And we are going to raise the capital, or try to at least, ourselves. And our contingency would be to, solicit the help of capital raisers. But again, talking to that, thinking outside the box and coming out of our comfort zone. This is something that is not a comfortable thing, but it's certainly something we're all excited about to actually to try and do ourselves. So that's one thing that I feel that when it comes to how we as a team operate, I feel that it's important for us to be real honest with one another. The other thing too, we've been preparing our slide deck for this property. And this week we've been burning the midnight oil. In fact, it was 1 o'clock that I went to bed. And then we got up early this morning to put the final touches on. And then I'm sure Max can speak to this as well. Sometimes with the lending piece, some aha moments come up or some surprises come up, and you got to just shift and do whatever what is necessary. And luckily or fortunately, we're working with some very experienced, talented sponsors, co-sponsors who know the ropes and who have a portfolio of brokers that they deal with, and have scenarios for how they choose to work out deals. And it's just a really good setup. And I'm very fortunate to be a part of this given deal. The other things about working on an asset management team, sometimes you got to know your lane, especially with working with sponsors or the ones that we're working with. These people know what they're doing, and it's important to position yourself to learn from them. I found myself shutting my mouth like, oh, well, let me be quiet, because there could be some nuggets of wisdom that I can actually gain by listening to their explanation of why we're doing things the way we're doing them. So working with the sponsors is very rewarding, in understanding how to work with the sponsors and what they are expecting from you as an asset management team. One thing that they're wanting to make sure for us that we do is we deliver. If we say we're going to provide some information, then doggone it, we need to provide it. So that's why we've been working the midnight oil trying to get certain things done. So that certainly has been absolutely helpful for us. I love the fact, and here's another thing. I love being accountable. So if you tell me, Terrina, when can you get this done? And I tell you tomorrow, and you're just, sticking it to me that I stay on those things, I love it. I absolutely love it, because I want to be held accountable. And to know that somebody more experienced than me is making sure I am set up for success means a lot to me. And I can echo that from the other ladies who are on the team as well. So whenever one falls short, we pick up the slack actually and just work together. So we've done a really fascinating job, if I say so myself, on putting this slide deck together and putting the first draft together that now will go to the co-sponsors for their further review. But yeah, I'm pleased with it. I'm definitely pleased with this draft. It's going to have some more tweaks to it, but I'm certainly pleased with how we just work together to help each other. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over for questions to see if anyone has anything that they would like to ask of me at this point. And thank you.
I have a question.
Yes. Darnell.
Yes. My question is, from my experience, and I consider myself still be pretty new at this. I haven't had the best, I guess, experience in bringing, or rather developing relationship with brokers. I've made calls and things of that nature, and try to get things set up, and not really going the way I wanted to. So what I want to ask is, like, is there a script you use, or like, what's the conversation you usually have when you do that?
Yeah. So there are a couple of scripts, and I think, Max, you have one that's been put in the Google Drive too. But Ari, are you a part of RE Mentor or no?
Yeah.
Okay. They have a couple of scripts too that I've kind of tailored and just kind of personalized it for myself as far as what I would use. But Darnell, let me tell you the truth. I don't really like calling brokers. I practice so that I can get familiar with it. And I build off of the talents of my team members to do that as well. So I have used some of the scripts that I've received from various groups. But yeah, I've been depending on my team members to help with that.
The scripts from RE Mentor, is that something that they gave out at the boot camp? Because I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah.
Maybe I overlooked it somehow.
Yeah, I can share with you what's in my binder, but yeah, it comes from the materials that they've given, but I'll be more than happy to share that with you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I got a question.
I have a question.
Somebody
Okay.
else has.
Let's see. You go first, Michael, and then George.
Okay. Properties that you were involved in, you said they were in Texas, right?
Yes.
Are they in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or did you have to go to a secondary or tertiary market?
You mean as far as the LP deal?
Yeah.
The LP deal is down near Houston, in Huntsville, in Conroe. These are Vanessa Alvaro. Lord, forgive me if I mispronounce it. Alfaro. It's her deal. Mike Desrosiers is on that too. I hate mispronouncing people's last Alfaro, but I do it. And anyway, it's that particular deal, and that's 73 units. And as of October 1st or the 30th, really, I joined in as a LP investor on that. And then this third property is soon to be under contract any day now. So in anticipation of that, we're doing a lot of work, staging work until the lawyers say, hey, green light, you can go ahead and speak more in detail about it. So all of these are in Texas. And the third one, the GP deal, it's in Lubbock, Texas. So
That's in Lubbock. Okay.
All right. George, you had a question?
I did, Terrina. I'm a boots on the ground kind of guy too, and so I was just curious that when you show up, when you're for boots on the ground, like what is most important to you? Like if there's three things that you look at or something that are kind of give you a gut before you even get into the details.
Well, George, I'm a little anal and I go a little extra. I usually set up an appointment to go to the Economic Development Center first, or at some point during that time. And I actually present myself as a potential tenant looking for a place to live so that they can actually let me tour. I look at the neighborhood. I look at how the grounds are kept. If there's a whole lot of trash, or if I see that the trash bin is overflowing, that tells me something about contract services, right? So I'm looking for things like that. I'm looking at surrounding properties, anticipating that I may actually end up needing to do a comparative. So if an adjacent or a nearby property is located conveniently, I'll take a look at that one too and tour it as well to see what kind of amenities they have. And typically the model represent their upgrade version. So I'm looking at what they put in their upgrades, and I take pictures of all of that stuff, pretending to be a tenant. And also I look at how receptive they are to animals. My dog is a service dog, by the way, and I take him with me. And I want to see how the management staff is going to behave. Not to say that they will end up being the management or the property managers of the property, should that be a property that I acquire or my team acquires, but I still like to know how people will receive that aspect. So as far as the surrounding attractions like gas stations, restaurants, shopping areas, I'm looking at that too, and I'm taking pictures. Proximity to malls or to the interstate. Also, I look at that, and if there's any development for the area, I too look at that as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. That's really insightful. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Letting me pick your brain a little bit. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey,
Well, Max,
Terrina.
yes, Charmaine.
Yes. So do you go to anything like the Chamber of Commerce or so to get information or the park and planning just to see what else is going to come into the area?
I
Because
usually do that.
sometimes,
I do that online or I call. But when it comes to face to face, I find it important to go to the Economic Development Center to literally get information and present myself to them. So, yeah. So, Max, I know we're only 10 minutes away, so I want to be respectful of time.
Yeah, your timing is perfect, and I loved all of your insight. I think that's wonderful. If you're in this industry a while, you start to see individuals who, sort of go through their low periods, and some kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but they fall out, or they implode, or they give up, or I'm not sure, what it is. And I'm always trying to put in people's minds that if you can stay in this business longer, your chances of being successful go up. And I don't know why you wouldn't want to be in this in some shape or form for the rest of your life. It's a good investment form. It's valid. It's kind of still good for the little guy in a lot of ways, even though we know how hard it is. But I appreciate your insight. And I feel like I talked to you once and you said, it was a moment in my multifamily experience where I was at a low point. And it happens to the best of us. And, part of that is the isolation of being alone. So a team can be so important to sort of bringing you back around. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get some friends in this business. And I can honestly say my best friends are in multifamily. It's a very strange phenomenon. And a lot of the brokers will treat you badly and all kinds of things. Not everybody's an A player. Okay. Some people there's a dark underbelly to this industry, but there's a lot of great people here too. So, find your friends and build those relationships and keep them going. And I appreciate all that you said for that, Terrina. Okay, so 21, we're doing pretty good on time, but I think we can go ahead. And Darnell, did you find all those phone numbers and contact information?
I did.
Good. So that's part of your goal, is to start to reach out to each other and see if you can build relationships. And even if it's a simple question, I think you can use the books people are reading as an excuse. You know, hey, I saw you were, text them, right? Hey, I'm in the Geek group. It's, you know, so-and-so, and I saw you reading this book. What do you like most about it? Maybe it's simple. Maybe I can call you and talk to you for a few minutes, you know, in the next week or two, right? And see if you can build some relationships across the team members. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Terrina. So everybody go back to the document, scroll down to the bottom, and let's go ahead and rate the meeting. And remember, you're not rating a person, you're just rating the meeting. So if your rating is 8 or above, you don't need to say anything. If it's below 8, for example, 7 or below, then you want to get something off your chest. Now's the time to do it. And that's an expression. You know, you don't want to leave a meeting with something on your mind that you didn't get to say. And even if we can't address it, like if it's a larger issue, we can always come back to it and address it at a later time. But it's important to put it out there now. Okay. All right, so type your name and your number, and then everybody unmute as we type these, and we'll roll through them in rapid fire succession. All right, everybody unmuted. Everybody ready? Okay, Jay, are you still with us? If not, Jay is an 8. And Terrina?
8.
All right, Darnell?
9.
Nice. Michael?
8.
For me, Max, I'm an 8.5. George?
I'm an 8.
All right, Cabrin?
8.
Nice. Lucian?
I give us an 8. Thank you, Terrina.
You're
Nice.
welcome.
And then anybody I missed, want to yell it out?
9.
Nice. Thanks, Mark.
8.
Nice, Pedro.
Charmaine, 8.
Nice. Thanks, Charmaine.
Albrey, 9.
Nice. C-Ray, you want to say yours? All right, you might still be muted. Okay, you guys. Well, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And I love it when the members present. It's so insightful to see your journey. And I think it's very inspiring to see that you're still hanging in there and making progress, one small step at a time, you know? And I appreciate all your advice, Terrina. That was awesome. Okay, you guys. Well, have a great weekend. Hang in there and keep taking one small step each day.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thanks, Max.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Darnell, I'll follow up with you by email.
Have a great night.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Nice. All right. See you guys. Thank you.